Hey guys, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Sabrina and I make pottery here on this channel, and today I wanted to show you guys how I made this bowl from start to finish. So if that sounds like an exciting time, just keep on watching and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more pottery related content. And you can also check out my Instagram page at Ceramic Sabrina if you want to see more of my work. So, as always, we are starting things off with preparing our clay. I think we are using a little bit over 3 pounds today. And then we are just gonna give it a good wedge on this little makeshift wedging board I threw together. And then I always like to focus on patting my ball of clay into a nice round uniform shape, because obviously once I throw it on the wheel, it's going to be a lot easier to keep everything circular if I start out that way. Just getting it nice and centered, making sure I've got some good tunes going in the background, and then just working on centering. So it is a little bit more difficult when you've got more clay to work with. Just takes a little bit more time, a little bit more elbow grease, as they say. So just making sure I start out with a nice centered ball of clay, so that my bowl ends up being nice and centered when it's all said and done. So just doing that. I like to start out with kind of like a rounded mound sort of a shape. It just helps me when I'm pulling if the sides are nice and straight and everything is just nice and smooth. And then here we are opening things up. So I like to focus on just going straight down and establishing my depth, making sure that I'm not going too far. I always recommend that you stop, use a pin tool, and check your thickness at this point in the game, just to make sure that you're not, gonna spend all this time centering and pulling a nice pot and then find out that the bottom was, a 1/4 inch thick, and yeah, so I'm pretty sure I'm throwing this on a bat. I actually don't remember. To be honest, I threw this bowl in May, I think, sometime in May, so here we are now in July, finally making it into a video. But I've been using the bowl. It's really great. Good bowl. Spoiler alert, I've been very satisfied with its functionality. But anyways, here you can see is the good part. I'm finally starting to pull some of that thickness down at the bottom, getting some good height on this boy. Always making sure to smooth out my bottom with the sponge so that I don't end up with any S-cracks. I have never had an S-crack in my entire potting history, so pretty proud of that one. I like to attribute it to, good sponge usage. That's what makes it all work. So yeah, now I'm just kind of at a point where I'm trying to get more height out of it. I'm trying to get some more volume on the inside so that I can actually put something in this bowl. The intention with this bowl was just to throw something a little bit bigger than I usually do, and yeah, just kind of wanted to see what I could do with it. It was a good time. Here is the speckled buff clay by Laguna, which I have mentioned before is one of my favorites. I think it plays really well with a lot of fun glazes, and that's kind of nice because a lot of my pottery I focus a lot on surface decoration through underglaze. Usually it's on white clay, so I kind of have the entire thing as a blank canvas, but with the speckled clay, I feel like the clay body itself offers enough visual interest that I don't really need to do that, so I usually just kind of experiment with glazes on it. But yeah, it also just is great for throwing. I really enjoy the way it feels. Nice and soft with a little bit of grog, and yeah. So we just finished throwing that guy, and here we are getting her nice and centered on the wheel after drying up for a few days. And yeah, I like to use a kind of not super pointy object, like the end of a paintbrush works fine. The angled wooden tool that comes with a lot of pottery kits is fine. And you pretty much just draw a line on it, and wherever it's the deepest line is where your bowl is sticking out too far. So that is how I get her nice and centered, and then we're going in with little loop tool. I prefer the angled one, and then I like to have a larger version of this on hand as well. Just kind of establishing my foot ring and then going in and getting rid of that middle area. I like to stop and push on the bottom pretty frequently, as you can see, just making sure that it's not going to cave in on me, because there's been a few pots that I just get a little trim happy with and suddenly they're a flower pot, or sometimes you can't even redeem yourself then and they just get reclaimed, but that's alright. So kind of when I'm trimming, I like to think about thinning out the bottom as much as I can, so obviously uniformity is something that I value very much in my pottery. And I like to make sure that the thickness of the bottom is the same thickness as the very top of the wall, so that if we just cut her open, it was just a nice slope. You couldn't really pick out a thick spot, so that's pretty much what I aim to do when I'm trimming. And you can even see I took her off the wheel just so I could really make sure that I wasn't too thin or too thick, and I think I decided I wanted to take away a little bit more. So yeah, put her back on the wheel. It's a little bit of a hassle to make sure it's centered again, but it really doesn't take that much work, and you know, sometimes it's really hard to tell just by touch alone. So I always recommend taking it off the wheel if you're really uncertain, because I'd rather spend the time doing that than spend the time reclaiming it later. So yeah, and then just go in with a little bit of water on my fingertip to really smooth things out. I've been trying to focus more on finishing touches with my work lately, and I think it really makes a difference, so I've been focusing on that. Here we are, taking this bad boy out of the kiln already, so that's exciting. Anyways, this is what our bowl looks like. It's still pretty toasty. So, yeah, now we're just gonna get to glazing. I am using a glaze called Milk and Honey, which I believe is by Spectrum. And yeah, someone had donated a whole bunch of these glazes to the studio I work at, and they were available for very cheap. So your girl dropped a good coin on some new glazes. So just trying this one out. The Milk and Honey has like a little bit of speckling, so I thought it would work really nicely on this clay body. It's always really interesting to see what this clay looks like after it's been bisqued. So it was fired to cone 04, and then this is a cone 5-6 glaze that I believe got fired to cone 6. But it's always interesting to see how the speckles don't come out until it reaches that mature temperature. Just using a really nice floppy brush to glob that glaze right on there, going for 3 solid coats, painting it on, letting it dry. Making sure I leave about 1/4 inch at the bottom so that when the glaze heats up and it melts, it doesn't run off the pot and onto the kiln shelf. And now we are moving on to a finished piece. So let's have a look at that. I hope you guys enjoyed that little serial montage I put together there. I was pretty proud of that one. I am no cinematographer, but you know, I do my best. But yeah, so I kind of just wanted to throw something a little bit bigger than I'm used to, and I think I hit the nail on the head with that one. It's a little bit big for cereal, but I think it's really nice for something like mixing up dough or like serving a salad or something like that. So definitely excited to have it in my arsenal of handmade pottery. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, you can hit the like button down below and leave a comment down below as well, letting me know what you think. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, check out my Instagram page, and have an absolutely amazing rest of your day. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye!